Sound of Freedom surprised the pundits, certainly the liberal elite pundits, by succeeding rather more than expectations. Some weeks it outgrossed far more prestigious titles like Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny and Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. There must be more to it than simply a less cumbersome title.
Timoteo, por rescatar niños, ¿verdad? Puedes ayudarme a encontrar mi hermana.
Te lo prometo.
All the headlines are about how well Sound of Freedom slots into the current culture wars in the United States, from the presence of religious right figures like producer Mel Gibson and star Jim Caviezel, to the theme of child sex trafficking, which chimes with the paranoia of the internet's lunatic fringe.
It is the fastest growing international crime network that the world has ever seen. It has already passed the illegal arms trade, and soon it's going to pass the drug trade. Because you can sell a bag of cocaine one time with a child 5 to 10 times a day.
Certainly, star Jim Caviezel has been pushing the film firmly towards the QAnon fan base. It's even been championed by Donald Trump, of all people. Whatever you may think of the film, its unconventional marketing strategy is clearly working.
For Homeland Security, you know we can't go off rescuing Honduran kids in Colombia.
Which means she'll disappear for good. Imagine walking into a room right now, seeing an empty bed. What we do.
Now, obviously, I have no way of knowing how accurate the background to Sound of Freedom is, or even how reliable a picture it paints of the real-life Tim Ballard. I gather the story has been tweaked considerably for dramatic effect, and the actual child-slave situation is far more complicated than the simplistic stranger danger scenario described here.
How long have you been doing this?
12 years now.
How many pedophiles you got?
288.
How many kids you found?
But it's a movie, not a crusading documentary, even if it sometimes claims to be. We meet heroic Tim Ballard, Jim Caviezel, tirelessly tracking down pedophiles and rescuing children for US Homeland Security.
How'd that make you feel? Giving a child his freedom.
Felt good.
One day, Ballard learns of a particular case, a very young brother and sister taken from their happy home in Honduras and then whisked off to the jungles of Colombia. Now, the reason Ballard is involved is that, notoriously, the vast majority of the clients of these child smugglers are American pedophiles.
My country, 'tis of thee.
Why are you doing it?
Because God's children are not for sale.
Ballard ropes in the assistance of a reformed criminal called Vampiro, played by the best thing in the film, respected character actor Bill Camp.
So at this moment, she could be a block down the road, or she could be in Moscow, Bangkok, LA.
Rather than trying to track down the child smugglers, Ballard and Vampiro set up a scheme to attract them. They'll set up a private sex club with the aid of a tame multimillionaire. And surprisingly, this bit actually happened, though it was entirely a Colombian initiative rather than the work of a couple of heroic Americans.
It's all rebel territory. No one goes in. Not the army, not the police, not us.
What if this was your daughter?
The sex club scam was a success, though the little girl Ballard was chasing remains a prisoner deep in the Amazon jungle. When Tim decides to rescue her, he falls foul of his boss, who reminds him foreign enterprises aren't part of his job description. But he's encouraged by his equally heroic wife, Mira Savino, who urges him to let freedom ring.
It's over, Tim. Close up and come back home.
So you quit your job and you go and rescue those kids.
When you're faced with a film called Sound of Freedom, you're reminded how much that loaded word has changed over the years and how much we associate it with a certain type of right-wing ideology. In this case, it also means freedom from the actual facts, from the misleading early shots of innocent kids being snatched in the street by criminals to Tim Ballard's entirely fictional rescue mission to find one child in the heart of Colombia.
This job tears you to pieces. And this is my one chance to put those pieces back together.
In addition, at the end of the film, Jim Caviezel pops up as himself, urging audiences to buy more tickets for friends and family. In this way, they'll draw attention to the cause and the film, which he modestly compares to books like Uncle Tom's Cabin as one of the most important works in history.
Theaters across this country are already selling out. Pre-order your tickets today, and you can send the message that God's children are no longer for sale.
The director of Sound of Freedom, Mexican Alejandro Monteverde, clearly went along with this hard sell by his star, though he's subsequently expressed some discomfort at Caviezel's more extreme politics. I assume he's happy enough with the film's unlikely success, though. Success, I might add, that owes very little to any intrinsic quality. It's Rambo, without the political nuance, essentially.
When God tells you what to do,